We've got a lot to pack into this vinyl happy hour because it's a huge August. But with this vinyl happy hour, I think we're gonna go with mostly some classics and oldies and what's old is new again and all of that and all the things that we've been waiting to see coming out on vinyl again. We're gonna get a little deeper into that and talk about some new releases too, what's been going on with pressing plants. And gotta have some whiskey, of course. So what's up, guys? I'm gonna get started. This is Skyler from Culture Shock Clothing and Records here in Rockford, Illinois. Also, you can find us at cultureshockshop.com. Each week, we like to break down and talk to you about some of the top releases that we are enjoying here at Culture Shock or things we think you should know about. And there's a lot to know about because it's a huge August. Let me first get into and say we recently took a little trip down to Nashville. It was really great to see some of the record stores there. Of course, we hit Grimey's and Third Man and multiple other places. And I stopped into Tennessee Legend Distillery. I got the King Snake 2-year small batch bourbon in my fancy Third Man glass, whiskey glass. Keeping it very Nashville. And it really lets me think about Nashville as such a hub for music. So much classic music, of course, country, and so many other musicians have come and gone through there. And it really reminds me of what's going on with this whole vinyl revival. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's been either hard to get or some of those classics. Because there is so much new vinyl and new releases coming out. But the pressing plants can't keep up with the vinyl demand, and I see it happening. That's why some of the new releases I wanted to talk about, I'm not really going to talk about yet because we're already sold out of a lot of them. And some things just aren't ready yet. You know, we're talking about some Midwest stuff and things like that and Southern stuff. The new Sturgill Simpson, the Ballad of Dude and Juanita. Well, we have the CDs in. It's out streaming, things like that. I forgot the date, guys, but you can check in the link below to pre-order our upcoming releases. I think this is not coming out till December, technically, and here we are mid-August. So pressing plants are just behind. It's one of those things. Also, there's a lot of demand. So some things, even if they are coming out on time, like the new Lord Solar Power, we're actually already sold out. We have more coming in next week, so I can't even show it off or talk to you about it because her album's already sold out. That's why it's really important for us to get you on the pre-order list. If you want to order something, then you know you won't miss out on it. That's probably the best thing to do. But now that I'm talking about it, let's talk about the new Lord album, at least the packaging. Of course, the record's great packaging. This is not a CD, though. I have to tell you, it's exactly the same size packaging, everything else. I just thought it was really interesting. She's one of the first artists to talk about not releasing her music on CD. But this is a collectible packaging special music box edition. So you do get the download, the booklet, a 4-card set, and a fold-out poster, and all that good stuff. This package does not contain a CD because she knows a lot of her fans and people aren't looking for CDs. So I thought that was pretty interesting to package it in a cardboard so as much recyclable materials as possible to not create more waste for the landfill. And it's cardboard-like packaging. So super interesting. Also, don't forget, there are some cassettes. We also have the indie store exclusive of the new Shannon the Clams, Year of the Spider. But I just thought I'd show off. Some artists are putting out cassettes, so it's funny to see cassettes and stuff like that in records, but no CDs. This is a cool little blue cassette. We like to talk about color vinyl. What do we want to show off first? Let's go with Type O Negative really quick. This is slow, deep, and hard. Type O Negative music has been very hard to get on vinyl, and even the reissues that have come out have sold out and are now way up in price. So this is their very first album. This definitely contains elements of some of their earlier New York sound when they were more of like a crossover thrash band. It's very heavy, but this is the beginning of their sound going to the traditional Type O, really slow, heavy, gothic, sound. But it's pretty interesting. There's also the track on side 4, if you were wondering, The Misinterpretation of Silence and Its Disastrous Consequences. That is 1 minute and 4 seconds of silence. That is on the vinyl. They're also they were a very funny band, very strange band. Of course, there's lots of sexual references and stuff like that in the music. Even the album itself, Slow, Deep, and Hard, is about that. But it's also about the music, because the music is very slow, deep, and hard, and very long tracks. Lots of 8 to 12-minute tracks. So this is a double LP on the green and black splatter vinyl. Real Gone Music actually put this out. They've done some really cool limited releases. A lot of 90s stuff and things that have been hard to get your hands on. Let me hide this one for now. So this is the poster that comes inside. It kind of looks more like a promo for the record. But you do get that with the package, and it's a nice, thick, heavy-duty gatefold package. Type O Negative, the box set that they had made a while back has been sold out for a long time. I wonder if they're going to reissue other typo negative albums. I'm not sure. So we have quite a few of those in stock, luckily. If you want to pick them up in store, you can also stop and pick them up on our website. We'll ship them to you or hold them to you. There's not much from the sticker. Run Out Groove. I wish they would have put a little note or sticker saying it's on green and black splatter vinyl, but that's why we like to tell you that it is. Next thing we're talking about is Dawes. Nothing is Wrong. This is the 10-year anniversary of this album. Also a double LP. I love the 10th anniversary version of this because there's lots of extras. First of all, it's a die-cut gatefold jacket with this kind of gold inlay, whatever you want to call it, gold design going around it. I think the original cover, if I'm not mistaken, was all black with this image. What's also really cool about this theater image here is it's actually on the inside inner sleeve. So that's kind of part of the artwork of the jacket. As you can see, there's your photos of the band, things like that. There was one thing I was just looking at. So this is double LP, milky white vinyl, 10-year anniversary from Dawes, and it does have a bonus 7-inch. You also get the full download. There's a card in there with bonus tracks. Enhanced artwork. I guess by enhanced artwork, that's what they're calling this die cut. But gosh, where was that one picture at? There was one thing that I was looking at on here too. I forgot where it was. Was it inside? But the pictures of these guys, this at the time when this came out, they're kind of more that southern, kind of easy rock, dad rock, whatever you want to call it, just mellow, chill stuff. Oh, I know where it was. Maybe it's on the 45. Yeah. So this is the bonus track. Actually, I haven't listened to these songs yet, but I do wish that the record on the 7-inch was also milky white vinyl. It's black, but that's cool. A cool little bonus that comes with it. But this picture of the drummer with all the records in the background, just showing you how much they had always been around music and were hugely influenced by a lot of classic bands. There's only one record showing that's face forward, and it's the back of them with all the guys standing there. And if my memory serves me right, it's a Doobie Brothers album, and that kind of makes sense because these guys are making music that is easy. It's cool and it's good, but you know, so is Wilco and a lot of other bands like this. But I could see definitely their influences coming from Doobie Brothers and Eagles and stuff like that. Just good, mellow, easy to listen to music. It doesn't hurt that they make that music. It's also great sounding recordings. So I should mention that this anniversary set is a 45 RPM cut for audiophile measures. So it is a really great sounding, meticulously recorded album. Super cool to see that. I have several Dawes records, so I'll probably be picking this up for myself because for some reason I never got the original version of this. So glad they're reissuing that. I think that's enough on Dawes right now. I'm really just talking about some older albums and reissues. We've got so much to catch up on for Vinyl Happy Hour. I swear if we take a week or two off, we're just inundated with all the new releases coming into our store. I would say something about like an independent store or like a mom and pop shop or whatever you want to call culture shock is we are really focused on having new releases and great classic used vinyl. And if you haven't personally been in the store, that's something you don't see a lot of maybe on our social media or in our Vinyl Happy Hour YouTube videos is all the used vinyl we get and carry and curate in the store. Lots of choice used vinyl, lots of rare used vinyl. So another thing we carry in the store is a lot of independent label and a lot of either strange or obscure or interesting releases. That is what this next category falls into. This is Mistreater Hell's Fire. This is a great album. This is a far out album. This is a mid-80s band from, shoot, I'm drawing the blank on it. I'm going to say Clearwater or something, but it's not. It's outside of Cleveland, Ohio, though. They're considered a Cleveland band, but they're actually from a smaller town outside of Cleveland in the 80s. Obviously, Cleveland and Ohio isn't known for music, but there's a great little sticker on here. What's nice to help kind of customers maybe perk their eyes up if you don't hear us playing it or talking about it in the store is this is stoner riffs and psych guitar, far out 1981 DIY metal. So these guys were outsiders. They weren't really in the well-known music scene. This isn't some LA, New York, or London band, or wherever Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin came from. A lot of those bands came out of England. And this has a sound of a band that I think sounds a little more like a band out of England. Even though they're from the Midwest, let's say, in the United States, doing their own thing. Originals of this, the other reason we're carrying titles like this is we've never had an original. and I'll just be honest, we probably never will. What few of them have ever come up, they were privately pressed, probably only a few hundred copies. I think the selling prices when they have traded hands have been between like $1,000 to like $1,400. So yeah, we're not finding that stuff. But they did a really great job of putting this package together. This is an import on the Dole Records. See, I don't even know that much about the label, but I do know about the story behind the band and the sound of the music. But it's this really cool kind of papery cover. You can tell it's got a little bit of an evil look to it. A lot of people just want to throw out Black Sabbath or something like that as the sound of bands like this. But there's definitely a little bit more of, let's say, more of that new wave of British heavy metal sound. And definitely some Judas Priest. But to me, it appeals more with the higher vocals and the grittier sound to bands that I listen to, like Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, and maybe some more stuff like that. Obviously, if you like Sabbath and stuff, you'll probably like a lot of these bands too. It is black vinyl. This stuff is really cool that they do have some pictures of the band recording, things like that. They were not very well known and not super long lived. And obviously a lot of bands who were out here in the Midwest like that in those days didn't get to tour or go far. So I doubt many people know what this is. But it's an awesome jam. I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of stoner rock, heavy metal, things like that, and classic metal sounding stuff. Just a really cool find. Again, originals you probably won't find. So a lot of things that we're carrying are things that you probably won't find on your typical big box stores and things like that, even in our new vinyl section. And I think that's what's important about supporting some of these labels that bring that kind of stuff out and supporting the stores that carry music like this. I do want to, we're still recording, right? Yes? Okay, I'm making sure. We've got some jazz, though, too, that I definitely want to talk about. It's not all Blue Note, but of course a lot of it is. These are more things, too. We have a great jazz section of new and used vinyl, but some of these reissues from Blue Note, especially this Tone Poet series, is a very audiophile experience. Again, the price point on most of the Blue Note reissues is only $25 to $35. For an audiophile, all analog pressing, it's an excellent price point. Also, even if you found an original in good enough shape to play, you'd be paying several $100s for a lot of these. This is an older piece, though. So the Tone Poet series, they're trying to bring out about 2 a month. And this is Sonny Clark, My Conception. As you can see also, is it on the front too? Yeah. You've got Donald Byrd playing with him on there, Hank Mobley, Paul Chambers, and Art Blakey, and then Sonny Clark piano. So a lot of these guys have been around the block and played with a lot of players. This is an earlier recording, so it's definitely a much more kind of easy to get into, very mellow jazz piece. With these Tone Poet series, it's also these really nice, thick, heavy-duty vinyl jackets. This one is the gatefold version, which has extra pictures and stuff inside of it from the session. Of course, nice, thick, all-analog vinyl with an anti-static inner sleeve. There's that nice Blue Note label. But there's only been a handful of the Tone Poet series that I've noticed that have come out that aren't gatefolds, and this McCoy Tyner is the other new release, and it's not a gatefold. It's just a regular LP jacket. And it's probably due to the fact that the originals of these were just regular LP jackets, not the gatefolds, so they probably didn't have any extra photos or things like that to add to it. But it is still the nice, thick vinyl, all analog pressing from original tapes. Besides the Tone Poet series, Blue Note is also doing something called the Classic Vinyl series. Well, I did want to note that these two are very different. This is maybe an earlier 50s piece, and this is a later 60s piece. So this is kind of two different, total different eras of Blue Note, even though it's a lot of the similar players and same record label and everything like that. This I said Intervisions. This is Expansions. That's a different album. But McCoy Tyner Expansions is definitely a little more far out. You've got Gary Bartz also playing on sax, and he's definitely more of the free jazz kind of experimental person. Ron Carter, of course, Herbie Lewis, and Freddie Waits also, who were not as known with the classic lineups. So this album is definitely going to be a little more far out, a little more experimental jazz, much different than the Classic Notes series here. This Dexter Gordon has much more, kind of the first track is called Cheesecake, and some of it does kind of give you that cheesecake jazz, just excellent, just old classic jazz feelings. A lot of great players on that. This also has Sonny Clark playing on there with Dexter Gordon. Much earlier piece. The Classic series, the vinyl is not quite as thick, neither are the jackets, but it is completely analog pressing. And then Craft Records has also been doing some really nice analog jazz pieces, stuff like that. This is a really interesting compilation of John Coltrane called Another Side of John Coltrane. It's a 2-record set. They're also putting on really nice thick vinyl. And this has the anti-static inner sleeves. It's a 2-record set. But what I love about this is it's John Coltrane. None of these songs really that he had written. This is him kind of playing as a side man. I think that's why it's called Another Side of John Coltrane. This is all of his side artist recordings. So you can see it's got him playing with Thelonious Monk, Sonny Rollins, Art Taylor, Miles Davis. So he's the side man on these recordings. And there's a nice little story about some of it. But it's really well done. Of course, most of them were recorded, even though they were on different labels. Most of them were recorded by Rudy Van Gelder. So, same guy recording most of them, but at different times. And a lot of these show you which album the original song came out on. It starts right out with Tenor Madness, a great piece that he had done with Sonny Rollins. And it's kind of one of those things where even if you already had these songs, it's nice to hear it put together with all the different people that he played with. So, a really interesting compilation. I just wanted to show that off. Of course, all of these records and many more you can find in the link below. We put these in our staff picks section to make it easy for you to find. If you want to click below to the staff picks at cultureshockshop.com. Of course, we're talking about pre-orders. Like I said, I'm doing Sturgill Simpson, Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, so many other releases coming up that if you want to pre-order them, do that in the pre-order section. We can ship them to you, or you can choose in-store pickup. That's the best way right now because who knows how many more months or years even if this vinyl demand keeps outweighing the supply. It could be kind of short pickings on some of the new releases as they come out. And of course our jazz section too has been really blowing up. Really great to see these analog recordings coming out. So join us again and go back and check out some of our other Vinyl Happy Hours if you haven't. Be sure to like the channel. If you're a music geek, music lover like us and like what we're doing, let us know. Drop any comments also and find us on social media. We will see you for another video soon for Vinyl Happy Hour. Cheers.